welcome back to day one of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Ultimate Championships, the third game of our coverage for today between Takapuna Grammar and John Paul College in our women's division. Later on this afternoon, we will have our first playoff match in the open division between the winner of Pool A and the winner of Pool B. But for now, we have two teams to take the field shortly. Takapuna playing out of the dark blue uniforms and John Paul College in the black. So matches here for the purpose of our tournament are 50 minutes longer until one team scores 15 points. The first team to score 8 points will take half. It's a short break between those, allowing the teams to reconsolidate. If we hit that full time, that 50-minute cap, and there's no result, we will create a new points cap by concluding the point that's being currently played, adding one to the highest score, and then racing that number. Players take it upon themselves to learn the rules and make any calls themselves. It's a self-officiated sport. We don't have referees here. So one of the benefits in a social context for Ultimate is that players develop communication skills and their ability to articulate their understanding of a situation. So it's an absolutely fantastic sport for young kids to get into. And we're going to see some of those young students out now, about to take the field and put on a great display of Ultimate. We are here, Crown Park in Taupō. It's a lovely sunny day. And sunny days to play Ultimate really do fit at the top of the pyramid of needs. Once you've had your food, your shelter, your clothing, your important relationships, your friendships, the only thing that is left is self-actualization, and there is no better place to find that than on a sunny day playing some Ultimate Frisbee. Seeing a great display of spirit and cheer from the Takapuna side. The synchronized, just wonderful opening to the game, bringing their energy. And so it looks as though Takapuna will take the field on defense to start the game. There is our hooter signaling the beginning of our 50 minutes. And 5 of the ladies from John Paul College taking the field to start the game on offense. Takapuna to lead off with a pull, nice low and flat, but enough to give John Paul College a little bit of trouble as they look to initiate their offense, working around the Takapuna defense. Cuts are developing, but the close defensive pressure from Takapuna. John Paul College managing to maintain possession, targeting the near sideline with a great crisp backhand. Forehand, narrow grab by Todd. The pressure from Takapuna Grammar enough to generate a turn after some nice continual passes up the field by John Paul College. Cuts developing, but it forces a reset. To Crichton. Puts a whip on it. A bit of a hard read, some of those flying discs. But Takapuna Grammar's offense out here making Egyptian hieroglyphs look like English with some great reads on these discs. But it looks like there may have been contact on that play. Lovison on the mark, on defense for Takapuna now. Todd managing to load the disc. Sarakaya with a long shot. Just outside of the end zone. Takapuna signaling for continual running. Lovison looking to make herself available. The disc tips out of the fingers. Field to initiate the offense for John Paul College. A great high shot. Pressure from the Takapuna defense forces the disc to go to ground. And a turn back the other way. John Paul College now with a great opportunity to kick off the first point of the game. A long field ahead of them to work through. Isabel Todd in the corner, looking for an option. Defensive pressure from Takapuna, giving Lovison a chance to close out the first point of the game. Says Wingardium Losa to try and get up. A little bit of levitation, and it's not enough. Leah Field in the corner, initiating the offense. Nice high shot. Time to get underneath it. Thrown out to space. Maybe a bit of miscommunication there. Great movement by Sarakaya to find the disc. A nice high shot up top. Trying to run underneath it and pick it up for a score. Nan with the disc for John Paul College. Takapuna trying to initiate their offense. Some great cuts into space. And a great read on the disc. Unfortunately, the field not quite wide enough for that to be in bounds. Great defensive coverage by Takapuna. Looking to shut down those cuts, but not enough. John Paul College working through. Getting out in front of the defense. Nice flow of passes. Great disc movement. Trying to find the defense out of position. Lovison with a big defensive block. A forehand up the far sideline to an open receiver. Just shy of the end zone, looking to close this one out for the first point of the game. Finds Sarakaya. Great score for Takapuna as they go one up over John Paul College in the first point of our third stream game for the New Zealand Secondary School Ultimate Championships. Takapuna to come down on defense. Crichton with the disc to initiate the second point of the game with the pull. A little bit of edge, but it's going to have a nice roll. Hard to read. Again, forcing the John Paul team to be a little bit out of position, giving Takapuna just that much more time to get down and put some pressure on that defense. Forehand over the top, a little bit on the long side. Great territory, though, for John Paul College, making the Takapuna girls' job just a little bit more difficult. Great defensive pressure to generate that turn back for John Paul. Centering the disc. Great option looking deep. Takapuna to take possession again. A big forehand. Nice float. Reeled in comfortably. And a second continuation. Great string of passes that we're seeing. Madsen-Bro with the disc. A high release forehand. Great score by Takapuna. Just tactical, smooth, controlled ultimate. Just looking for open receivers and targeting them. Trusting the teamwork that they've built over the past few weeks and months of practice. Takapuna going 2 points up over John Paul College as we round out the first 10 minutes of the game. Takapuna again to come down on defense. Great pull from Takapuna. Nice, long, fielded well. And returned with a high, slightly edged backhand. And the wind, again, not too strong, but still present, coming from the far side of your screen to the near side of your screen. Enough to push the disc out of bounds. Fleet on the defense. Applying pressure on the mark for John Paul College. Big high release forehand, a lot of edge. Takapuna not able to get underneath it to keep that one in possession. Tremaine again with a good look down that far sideline. Pressured, blocked by the defense. Good movement from the John Paul College team, looking to find space, not able to connect with those throws, giving Takapuna an opportunity to put another point on the board, widen up that margin. A great grab, followed by a high shot, pressured by the defender, makes those catches a little bit more difficult. John Paul College taking possession again. A nice quick throw, overrun by the receiver. Another confidence score for Takapuna Grammar. Just finding those holes, threading the disc through those. Confident grabs, patience, and throws to catch within the end zone and put another point on the board for Takapuna Grammar as they go 3-0 over John Paul College. It is still anyone's game. We are only 11 and a half minutes into our 50-minute time cap, and it's still plenty of a time for John Paul College to rally and make a comeback to close that margin that Takapuna have worked so hard to build for themselves. John Paul College now initiating their offense, making some nice short gains up the field with quick passes. A turnover giving Takapuna an opportunity again. High backhand over to the far sideline. Fielded by Swarbrick. High release forehand. Tips off the hands of Sarakaya. Great forehand through the middle of the John Paul College defense. But that hole is quickly plugged. John Paul College generating another turnover. The wind carrying that disc out of bounds. Takapuna College within the red zone, only 5-10 meters or so out from their end zone. A great opportunity to close and widen the score that they've managed to build for themselves. High release forehand. Great defensive positioning to box out, getting in position under that disc as it falls. Long points, generating a little bit of fatigue in both sides. Some of those execution errors starting to creep in. They have the mental focus to tighten these up, to make those connections that they need. A long, big forehand with the shorter field. The power on some of these throws and the contribution of the wind can often carry them a little bit further than the throw was intending. Makes things a little bit more difficult for the receiver. Nice backhand under the arm of the mark. John Paul College retaining possession. Takapuna College now hoping to close out. Backhand fading back, but it's kept alive. Sarakaya with a great grab to close out the point as Takapuna go 4-0 over John Paul College. Takapuna on defense one more time. Lovison with the pull. Managing to keep spirits high, even though John Paul have a great opportunity to score. Trying to make that play as quickly as possible while Takapuna out of position. Requires that much more precision. And that slight miscommunication generating a turn for Takapuna. But the momentum swings back the other way. A great big backhand. Falling out of bounds. Takapuna trapped in their defensive corner by the John Paul College defense, looking to work up the field. As the stall count rises, that pressure gets poured on. John Paul College, a quick break to close out that point, getting themselves on the board for 1, still in favor of Takapuna, but John Paul College narrowing that margin, clawing their way back. We'll see that again. Quick break and straight through the defense for Todd to put a score on the board for John Paul College. Now we're seeing a huge amount of defensive pressure from both sides on this team. One of the key skills of an ultimate handler is their ability to shift the mark and throw with confidence. It's a very, very difficult skill to teach. It seems considerably less intuitive than working in other sports. And there's significant benefit to being able to find a good throwing coach who can show you the ins and outs of the forehand and backhand necessary to succeed in Ultimate. A great pull from John Paul College. A little bit of a roll, giving them time to get into defensive position. Crichton with the disc on the near sideline, being forced to throw forehand by the defensive marks positioning. A great flat shot up the near sideline, hoping to close that point out. And it looks like that may have been a stall or a drop. John Paul College taking the disc. Fleet chasing that one down. Takapuna managing another turn, hoping to work back up the field. Lovison taking the disc now. Near sideline pulled in by Madsen Burra. A little bit of miscommunication on that reset. Possession swinging from one side to the other as both teams focus on maintaining that defensive pressure. Crichton again. Players trying to dictate the pace of the game. Great defense by John Paul College there, finding that open gap and plugging it. Very nice throw around the mark, trying to chain those continuations together to gain up the field. A late bid, but a courageous one. Having to find the ground, trying to give an opportunity for that disc to find hands in the end zone instead of grass. Makes up for it. A great redemption with a nice block and a score to close out this point for Takapuna as they go 5-1 over John Paul College. Now, as I was mentioning earlier, one of the key skills is being able to shift the mark and open up those lanes to throw into, to make your job as a receiver that much more easy. And the benefit of finding someone who can really communicate the ins and outs, the nuanced mechanics of some of those throws is integral. Particularly as younger players seek to develop throughout the course of their ultimate career. Now, I've worked with a couple of throwing coaches in my time, and I have to give a shout out to Jamie Erickson from Jet. who developed a one-of-a-kind personalized coaching program to help improve your throws throughout the sport of Ultimate. Comfortably one of the best throwers I've met. A huge contributor to the sport of Ultimate through her coaching and willingness to share that experience. Great long shot from John Paul College. Takapuna goes up for the defensive bid, but catching your D's or failing to do so leaves an opportunity for the offense to retain possession. Great movement by John Paul College, managing to work that disc upfield. Great shot through the defense by Takapuna. A little bit of communication about the count. A reminder that like a shot clock in basketball, players in possession of the disc have only 10 seconds to find a throwing opportunity before there's an automatic turnover generated. A great reel in by Madsen Burra for Takapuna Grammar. Maybe one pass away. Great pressure there from Joyce, number 2 on the John Paul College side, able to generate a turn, but the disc swings back the other way in the red zone, only a few meters out from another score for Takapuna. The options in the cuts to the corner, closed off by the defenders. That pressure generating turns again. A little bit of miscommunication there. Nice forehand option to the end zone, but again, that defense from John Paul College. It's being in the right place at the right time, narrowing the windows for success. High disc with a little bit of edge. Great read there by the offense trying to get into position. But a little bit of interference from the wind carries that disc out of bounds. John Paul College now to take possession. Takapuna Grammar running through. Madsen Burra again putting pressure on that defense, generating turns back the other way. A great cut there in the end zone. Fantastic separation. And able to secure that final point, or the final pass rather, of the point. As we go 6-1, Takapuna Grammar up. Great positioning. Excellent initiation on that cut to create that space, to make a wider throwing window, make things just that a little bit easier for your teammates. 5 points ahead of John Paul College. John Paul College have to put on display some incredible defense. Really, really great energy. They're continuing to run. It almost looks as though it's the first point of the game for them. They haven't expended any energy. They're still bringing that fire there, applying pressure to the Takapuna offense. They're not making things easy for each other, but you can still see the players out there smiling. It's fantastic to see that the game is competitive, but they're not taking it too seriously. And that's one of the wonderful things about Ultimate, is that as a sport, as competitive as players can be, they recognize that the opposition and the people on your team are the most important thing. John Paul College trying to initiate something as Takapuna closes in the iron jaws of the defense. Crichton to handle, marked by Joyce. Space in the end zone. Looking to make a cut up the line. Gets blocked by that defensive pressure. The wind there with interference. Trying to take a couple of bites at it, but Takapuna take possession only 10 meters out from their end zone. A nice high forehand. A little bobble just at the end. Not able to get underneath it for the reception. Great coverage on those undercuts by Takapuna. And they're able to generate a turn from that effort. Crichton one more time. Looking for someone open in the end zone. A big backhand, the front edge. A largely territorial game on display here. When the pressure rises, both teams know they're able to generate those turns from their defense. And so we're seeing a lot of big throws out into space, specifically to push the opposition back, forcing them to work up a longer field, forcing them to remake any gains that they're able to claw away from their opposition. John Paul College managing to reset the disc. And it's just beyond the fingertips of the intended receiver. Crichton once again. A great shot through. Wonderful conclusion there for Takapuna as they go up 7-1 against John Paul College, only 1 point away from taking half. Just great positioning and vision. Seeing an open receiver parked in the end zone, just waiting for the disc. Takapuna once more out on defense. John Paul College sending a high shot up. A great chase from Leah Field. Excellent focus trying to track down that disc. Lovison to Crichton. Stall count is rising. The forehand goes off. Great pressure from John Paul College. Excellent connection there for a completion. And another one, a long shot to the end zone. Great looks, the vision, seeing open receivers streaking towards the end zone. Top speed, wanting to get the disc to them, wanting to close out the point, wanting to support your team in that capacity. There really are few things in life that feel better than chasing down a disc thrown by someone that you've been spending a lot of time practicing with. Great bid by Lovison, trying to get up to keep that disc in Takapuna position. Not quite enough as Tinson reels in. Lucy Fleet, reels in that disc for the score. Takapuna 7, John Paul College 2. What's that whistling in the background? Is that the sound of the comeback train? John Paul College to come down on defense. Takapuna only one offensive hold away from taking half time. A great rip as the disc goes up. A lot of float underneath it. John Paul College having plenty of time to establish their defensive positioning. Madsenborough to Sarakaya. Great shot up the far sideline. Another backhand directly towards the receiver, but that defensive pressure from Todd. John Paul College looking to string together a few connections of their own, succeeding to work their way up the field. There it is, the first stop on the comeback train station. We have arrived there as John Paul College put another point on the board, going back to back, just stringing together those passes. Todd pulling that score in as we go 7-3. Still in favor of Takapuna Grammar, but narrowing with each passing minute. Ball goes slightly out of bounds. Takapuna giving the signal to Brick. Oh, no, it'll be taken in from the sideline. A forehand kept alive. Great read on that by Takapuna. Nice work moving the disc, but Takapuna find that position, managed to get ahead of it. Keep working back the other way. And the John Paul College says no, generating a turn of their own. Now again, we've seen John Paul College able to string together a series of passes. Takapuna College don't want to give that, or Takapuna Grammar rather, don't want to give that away so easily. Neither did John Paul College. These long points just mean both teams are playing aggressive defense. A lot of pressure, forcing a more difficult throw to make. A nice big backhand. Pulled down by the Takapuna receiver as they go 8-3 over John Paul College to take the first half of the game. A great score for Takapuna Grammar. Definitely a point to be proud of. We'll be back with you shortly for the second half of this game between Takapuna Grammar and John Paul College on this day one of the 2021 New Zealand Secondary Schools Ultimate Championships. My name is Blair Monroe. I'm here with skysportnext and the Stream Shop, and we'll see you again soon. Again, a great display of the fire that has seen Takapuna Grammar take a 5-point lead in their game against John Paul College. My name is Blair Monroe. I'm here on the first day of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Ultimate Championships. It's our third game of the day. We've seen some fantastic performances. Lytton from Gisborne against Birkenhead from Auckland. Hutt Valley High School boys in our open division facing off against Shirley boys. Their first appearance, in fact the first appearance of any South Island team at the Nationals since 2014. Instead, typically competing at their own event. And now this. Takapuna Grammar from the North Shore of Auckland facing off against John Paul College. There are 8.5 minutes left in the game. It is currently a race to 15. John Paul College to come out on defense after the half. About half the field for the Takapuna team to have to work down. A great offensive position to find themselves in. A nice high, crisp forehand. Reeled in, but not in bounds. Great elevation on that jump. Great positioning on the disc. And the pressure on the mark, enough to generate that turn back for Takapuna. Lovison with the disc. High backhand with a lot of edge. A great undercut towards the disc by John Paul College. Not rewarded. A great grab by Takapuna. Big high release. High jump to get there. Tips off the fingers. Goes to ground to make sure that the point goes on the board. We're going to get to see that again. Good read on the disc. Up. Manages to secure it. Sarakaya. Another score on the board for her. Takapuna now on 9 points to John Paul College's 3 with 6 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the game. Lovison giving the signal. Takapuna to come down on defense. A little bit of miscommunication there as Takapuna take possession. Quick turnover for them. Another high forehand. Looking for Sarakaya in the end zone a second time. That same forehand that we've seen. Intercepted, denied by Joyce. Great defensive pressure there. Takapuna answering with their own. Lovison finding good position on the disc, but not able to compete against the boxing out by the John Paul College player. A travel was called a couple of passes ago. So again, Ultimate being a throw and catch sport, players in possession of the disc are unable to move with it apart from a single pivot point. Most right-handed players will use their left foot as their pivot point and vice versa for left-handed players. The idea being that pivoting on your opposite foot gives you the greatest distance between your release points for your backhand and forehand. Gives you the most versatility. The disc looks to have touched a blade of grass before being secured by the player, which means it would be down, constituting a turnover. Lovison, a great cut to the far sideline at the front of the zone, finding the disc for a score, taking Takapuna to 10 points against John Paul College's 3. John Paul College on offense now. A great grab by Field going up. And working the disc, bouncing off those other players. Todd takes it. Fields looking to get into position. And keeping it alive. Some great movement around. Secure hands to keep the disc in possession of John Paul College. Joyce sending one last one. Goes a little bit far. Such fantastic effort by the John Paul College team to string together those passes, making consistent, exciting, dynamic grabs. But Lovison to Field for Takapuna. A cut intercepted and pulled in for the score by John Paul College, going up one more point. 10-4 to Takapuna now. 2 minutes and 45 seconds until our cap goes. We'll see that again. A quick break as Tremaine pulls that disc in for a great score for John Paul College. Nice pull by John Paul College as they pour down on defense. Takapuna pressured, but Madsen Burrow manages to find open space and take the disc. Sarakaya working the far sideline with Madsen Burrow. In the red zone now. A good opportunity for a forehand there, but there's too much pressure. JPC College, or John Paul College rather, defenders in close proximity. Sarakaya one more time, reeling it in the end zone with a minute left on the clock. Takapuna going up to 11 over John Paul College's 4. Despite a great defensive bid by Tremaine trying to block that one off. She saw the throw developing, cut hard into space to try and block it. But the hands of Sarakaya are just too secure on this day. We're seeing the ready signal from John Paul College. And though the point has begun, the hooter has gone, so this point needs to be concluded. One will be added to the highest score, and teams will be racing to that number. John Paul College looking to thread through the defense. Tremaine keeps it. Madsen Burrow with the disc, looking downfield, searching for an opening. A backhand. Two Takapuna players make great efforts to keep the disc in possession. Not quite enough. A backhand to a big Takapuna spike. Big high forehand. Great read. In position, Swarbrick. But not able to keep it. John Paul College. Great initiation pass. And a big one to the zone. Not quite in the zone, just out. Tremaine looks to reset and continue on. just outside the reach of Tremaine to put another score on the board for John Paul College. And so we'll see her marking up on defense now. A big backhand. Comes out of bounds. John Paul College with possession. Nairn on the disc. Getting a quick backhand through. Kept alive by Field. But it looks to have been out of bounds. The pendulum of Ultimate swings both ways. John Paul College now to take possession. A great backhand. Great timing from the defense, that patience allowing them to generate a turn. Good pressure on the Takapuna defense, finding a great box, going early, forcing the receiver out of position. Madsen Burrow with the disc for Takapuna. Field to Nan. That pressure from Takapuna forcing closer passes, a lot harder to pull off. Great connection, Sarakai again with the score. So that point concluded means it is now a game to 13. Takapuna to come down on defense for what might be the last time for them in this game. John Paul College needing 9 consecutive points to win. Stranger things have happened when plastic is flying in the air. It's not unheard of for 11-point deficits to be fought back and have a game turn on a single point. John Paul College initiating the offense, sending a big shot. The wind carrying it just out the range of the receiver. Crichton now. Madsen-Burrow trying to create space. Swarbrick getting underneath the disc. Great positioning. Not able to secure it. A massive backhand. Sarakaya out in open space. Time to get underneath it. Great grab, just shy of the end zone, needing to close this off. Still great territory as field picks up for John Paul College. Crichton one more time, hoping to close out the game. A laser beam, really close to the end zone. Great work by Todd as she tips the disc. Sarakai in a great position to receive and even tries to get a second bit on it. But that tip from the defense, just enough to keep it out of the hands and keep the game alive. Madsen Barra, great run through defense, great awareness. Crichton in the danger zone. And there is our final score of the game. Swarbrick taking it to 13-4 over John Paul College. Big congratulations to both of these teams for playing a hard-fought game of Ultimate, for working together, for displaying the character, the grit, the assertiveness, the confidence required to play this sport at such a competitive level. My name is Blair Monroe. This is day one of the 2021 New Zealand Secondary Schools Ultimate Championships. Well done to Takapuna. I'll be back with Sky Sport Next and the Stream Shop for our final coverage of the day very soon.